Hey, so I wanted to do a video on guns for the modern homestead. And I was laughing at this because Iraq Veteran had a video on YouTube that was titled exactly this that came up in my feed. And I was like, well, the video I made yesterday about weapons for shit as the fan is pretty much that. I didn't really flush that out fully, probably, but like, I'm buying guns for myself to have it like an off grid cabin to make it through the rest of time. And as such, there's a few things that I already have and a few things that I want to get. And I figured I would go through all of those in this video, but I'd start with what I already have, which I showed yesterday in the video, but maybe you didn't watch that. So for pistols, I think you need something small and carryable. I have a car. I like it. It's 9 millimeter pocket gun, single stack, 6 or 7 rounds plus one. You could have a lot of other things in that category, but whatever kind of gun you're going to carry and carry a lot, like that's what I would get. So if that's a Glock 19 to you, that. But like the gun that you're going to have on your person day in, day out, every day for the rest of time, I would get that gun, whatever that is. Uh, the next thing that I got was a 9 millimeter PCC. Really compact one and one that could be transformed into a combat handgun, basically. I got the SIG 320 Flux Raider. There's a lot of other things that you could put in here, but some sort of compact 9 millimeter PDW, I think, is what you should get. Again, whatever that means to you, like think MP5K PDW, Flux Raider, maybe an Uzi, various other kinds of submachine guns. That's what I would get. And I had a black powder pistol, which I would encourage you to have something like that, whether it's a black powder gun or just like a revolver, like a 357 revolver. I would have something that is not black and tactical, just for bumps in the night and shit. Don't give away your fucking hand, you know. And this brings me to what I think of as the crux of my argument for weapons for the modern homestead is I think you need a semi-automatic box magazine fed 308 rifle. Something like M14 G3 FAL-ish. And this is to defend yourself with, this is to hunt with, this is to do everything with. One gun for everything. There's other things that you could get, but I would get this for sure, especially if you're not going to have many guns. Now, if you're going to have a whole bunch of guns, you could get some AR-15s and a fucking G3 and a few bolt actions and whatever. But if you have limited funds, I would get a semi-automatic 308 and a semi-automatic 5.56 for rifles. That's what I would do. And then shotguns, you need a variety of shotguns, really, but I would look at something like a over-under or a side-by-side break action shotgun with internal hammers. They're bulletproof guns that will last forever, and this you need a fowling piece for your cabin. That's what I would want. Now, in addition to that, I think a couple cheap pump action shotguns for bears and home defense and shit, probably a good idea to have those too. And, if you are on limited funds, you can buy a Maverick 88 for $200 and buy the extra barrel for it for another $90 or something like that. It'd be less than $300 in a shotgun that can do home defense or bird hunting. So I'm going to head towards that direction probably, unless I can find a deal on an over-under. I would really like to have like a really nice side-by-side or over-under shotgun. So I might just go that route. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide on that myself. That's the next gun that I'm buying. And after that, I would get a 22 or a pellet rifle. And either or both. I would get both. And my plan is to get an AR-7 because it's lightweight and compact and floats, and I think it's neat. And I already have some other 22s. Um, I want an AR-7 to play with, so I'm going to do that for sure. And I'm for sure going to get a pellet rifle. I have a Savage Model 64 takedown already in storage, and I'm going to pull that thing out probably for this too. That's about it for guns for the modern homestead. That's the thing, is you really don't need that many, and that's the thing that kind of got me about like Eric's advice on Iraq Veteran is like I like most of his choices, but like he had a Benelli M3 as the fucking shotgun. That's stupid. If you have Benelli M3 money, I would get a really, really bitchin' over under. And the reason is it is a gun that effectively puts food on the table much better than a Benelli M3 and costs probably half as much for a really nice one. Like you could get a nice Beretta over under shotgun for like $1,000. That's what I would buy. And then I would get like a Maverick 88 or Mossberg 500 pump action home defense gun. I would not get a fucking Benelli M3. It's a lot of money for no reason. Okay, the thing we did agree on was the semi-automatic 308, and I think that's just the reality of the situation. If you are one man on your own in a cabin or surviving the end of the world, you need to carry something more than a 5.56. Like the 5.56 does have the advantage of a lot of rounds, and I would definitely have it in the toolbox. But if you don't have a real rifle in your toolbox that is at least semi-modern, and by semi-modern I would mean FAL G3 M14 or newer, that has a 20-round detachable box magazine and a semi-automatic, you need to do that. For hunting and for defense, like these are really one and the same. And that's the thing that I would like people to get, at least from my concepts that I'm doing for my shit, is that we have one weapon system for hunting and for defending ourselves that is 308. That's all we have money for, is one. So if we're only going to have one, I think it has to be the fucking battle rifle because it does the most shit. That's pretty much what he was saying too. He was going AR-10, and I have nothing against the AR-10 really. I don't like them myself. That's the only thing. And that's because growing up, the few AR-10s I did encounter were unreliable pieces of shit. And I have a lot of time on M14s and FALs and G3s. I would much, much rather have any of those three guns over an AR-10, despite their drawbacks and a lot of other shit. And like part of that is because those rifles are A, legitimately cool to me, and B, are made to endure. In my opinion, most AR-10s on the civilian market aren't really made to hold up. I really like the Smith & Wesson MMP-10, and I really like the Knights Armament stuff. And I think DPMS even makes a couple of guns I like. I would just avoid AR-10s. It's much easier. The thing with that is that gun takes care of 90% of anything you'd ever need to shoot, probably. And this is the thing that a lot of people like watching this don't want to hear, is that really you could have one rifle to shoot most things with. Okay? Other than that semi-automatic 308, all you really need is a pistol, some sort of CQB PDW, in my opinion, and like small game hunting weapons and shotguns for birds, and or shotguns for defense if you want those. That's just, there's not that many things you need other than that once you have that semi-automatic 308. The only thing that I'd want the 5.56 for is because you could get a gun that was like a SPR kind of build, where you have like a deer rifle kind of scope on top of a longer-ish barreled fucking AR. that's set up to be super lightweight and using 5.56 with heavier bullets so you can shoot further, but yet carrying lightweight 5.56 ammo, like you can carry a whole bunch of rounds. This makes some sense, and I get that line of thinking. But in reality, like, if you're not going to be hiking around, and this is my main argument, is every place I'm going to have that FAL is going to be at a cabin that I'm going to be at or in my vehicle. If I'm on foot, I'm probably going to leave it behind. Okay, it's kind of like it's like the door gun for the fucking minivan. That's how I'm looking at it. But it can do a lot of other shit. It's, a machine gun to have in place at the fucking cabin. The other thing I saw on Iraq Veteran that I wanted is he had a swivel gun that took little like metal cartridges. I forgot about that thing. I want to look up one of those, and I'm seriously going to save up money and buy one of those fucking swivel guns at some point, because that's just something somebody's making somewhere. 100% that thing can't be that expensive. I could probably even make one of those myself, and that might be fun too. But I want one of those with like some sort of rig to mount it somewhere on my minivan. Mainly just for the LOLs of it, but also, like, I think legitimately having a fucking black powder cannon mounted to like the hood of your minivan is just kind of fucking hilarious and effective. Like, at least you'd have like one or two shots out of that thing. Like, people would be freaking out if you started shooting off a black powder cannon at them. Plus, I figure like grandma's going to need something to do. I guess this is maybe part of the difference between my system and like what he's thinking about in some ways is like my idea is to have my homestead essentially loaded up in that minivan and go out someplace and like carve out a fucking cabin in the woods, basically. It's going to kind of fucking suck to do that, but like I kind of figure if I buy land and like the rule of law and everything is still in place, I'd pull the minivan up and get like a storage shed or some sort of like screened in porch kind of thing and use that as like a base to build a cabin with like power tools and modern construction materials. And then that would be relatively easy and even relatively cheap, to be honest. That's where I would like to head, but I'm going to be doing the van life thing at least for a bit, I think, just because I want to. I want to take some trips and hang out at some places and do that kind of thing and save some money up and buy land to do this crap and homestead. That's kind of where this whole channel is heading, and that's why I thought I wanted to do a video on guns for modern homesteading, because that's pretty much the video I made yesterday, the guns for shit's the fan. That's, if you add an over-under shotgun and a takedown 22, you have guns for modern homesteading. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped somebody out. I'm going to continue to do videos on kind of my thoughts about the systems that I'm doing for myself, because I know that there are lots of you that are doing this, and I think at least maybe listening to me fucking think through my systems will help you in some way to do yours. And I'm looking for stuff like this to watch myself, so why not make some? I'll see you guys later.